And thank you for joining us. Always glad to tell you about our veteran segment, but really excited when we can talk to people who are making difference for others and what they do in their lives. So during this veteran segment, I'd like to welcome in on our program. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. Always glad to tell you about our veteran segment, but really excited when we can talk to people who are making difference for others and what they do in their lives. So during this veteran segment, I'd like to welcome in on our program. We have Captain Matthew Levine. Welcome to the program.
Thanks for having us.
All right. Sitting next to him, Captain Deanna Cass. Deanna, welcome.
Hi, thank you.
And sitting next to her is Captain Wes, who we call William Shanego. Welcome to the program, guys.
Afternoon, Keith.
All right, appreciate it. So we're glad that you guys are here. I always like to find out a little bit about you. So, Captain Levine, tell us a little bit about how we got here and your current situation.
Absolutely. So I actually come from a very rich military family.
Okay.
Both my grandparents on my dad's side fought in World War II, and one of my grandparents on my mom's side.
Wow.
My dad's mom and dad, my grandpa, he was a black medic stationed in the Aleutian Islands in Alaska during World War II. He then stayed career Army, then he fought in Korea, and then in Vietnam.
Oh, my goodness.
And in the Army...
Following no shoes, would you?
Yeah, no kidding.
Right.
Well, my grandma has an even more impressive story. She was she was in the all-black women's battalion, the only black women's battalion to deploy during World War II to the European theater, where they sorted all the mail coming into Europe. And then she became one of the first black officers in that battalion. Wow. And then through the Army, she met my grandpa, and then 2 generations later, you have me.
And here we are.
And then my grandfather on my mother's side, he was a medic in the Pacific during World War II, while my grandmother on my mother's side worked in a munitions factory.
Wow.
So, rich World War II family history, which gave way to me and my brother. My brother enlisted as an artilleryman for about 3 years, from 2012 to 2015. And then I decided I wanted to follow my grandmother's steps and become an officer. And I did ROTC at the University of Wisconsin-La Crosse, where I joined the Army. I'm an intel officer, so military intelligence, the biggest oxymoron there is.
No, it's not. I appreciate the joke, but we some of us who know better.
Well, thank you.
Certainly.
And then from that university, I commissioned, and then I got stationed in Alaska.
Oh,
and I was stationed...
Similar to some other people in your family.
Absolutely. Yes, actually, I got stationed at the base where my grandparents are actually buried.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of
Oh, that's special.
It was very special. And I was a paratrooper there with 425.
Yeah, I can see an airborne division.
Yep, absolutely. Mm-hmm. And then I met my now wife up there. Yeah,
Okay.
so without the Army giving me amazing opportunities, I never would have met my wife.
Right.
In Alaska, of all places.
Right.
And then once my time was up there, I was given the opportunity to come and be a senior lieutenant, junior captain, executive officer for recruiting.
Okay.
And of course, they said, pick your place. And it's like, oh, gotta go to Louisiana. Actually,
I'm going to New Orleans, baby.
Exactly. My grandpa's actually from down here.
Oh, awesome.
He grew up in the Donaldson area back in the 1920s, and then he moved out to California before the war.
Wow. I would ask you what makes you most proud, but you just described it, which is that you and your family have always represented our country, and you continue that honor. And so we appreciate that.
Well, thank you.
To this day. I appreciate you sharing. And so now we have our incoming commander. So, Deanna, tell us a little bit about that and the importance of that for you, and a little bit about your story, if you don't mind.
Okay. So in terms of my story, I started off with, as early as middle school, my dad always talked about the military. My grandpa served. My dad did 4 years. I never experienced the military life. He did it way before I was born.
Okay.
And then it was time for high school to start applying for colleges. So I was in the process of applying for West Point, the Naval Academy. I never finished the application because I decided to go to Texas A&M, and that was the school I wanted to go to. So I did the Corps of Cadets over there, did my 4 years there, graduated. I commissioned as a transportation officer. So I went to Bullock at Fort Lee, Virginia, and then got stationed at Fort Bliss. So I was at 2nd Brigade with the 40th Engineer Battalion.
Wow.
So I was there for the past about 4 years.
Okay.
I did district platoon leader, the maintenance control officer, as well as executive officer. And then I went to Fort Lee again for logistics captain career course. And then I now I'm here at New Orleans.
Okay. Tell us now, it's been about a 2-week transition we were talking about.
Yes.
Tell us the thing that maybe you're most excited about as incoming commander.
So what I'm excited about is being able to interact with the community, being able to meet the people, the community leaders, as well as the applicants. I just know that the reason I joined is because I've always wanted to help someone in some way or matter. So I was able to experience that in the operational army just by helping developing the soldiers, and now I can see the before process before they get to the unit and trying to help them in that manner.
It's always nice to see both sides, right?
Yes.
And so,
Yes, it
and,
is,
and
sir.
speaking of that, somebody who's seen both sides, and I guess my first question, my last question to you, Deanna, has Wes been helpful?
Yes, he actually
I
has.
appreciate the hesitation. The hesitation was,
he
Wes
has
didn't
been-
expect you to say that.
He has been helpful
Good.
since as early as what, December? We've
Oh,
been
wow.
communicating. He's been
Oh, that's
helping me. It's been great.
Okay.
I've never had such.
Keith, what kind of recruiter would I be if I
If
couldn't
you weren't
recruit my
helping,
replacement?
recruiting for your replacement, right?
Exactly.
Gotcha. Yeah. So, Wes, tell us a little bit about yourself and maybe some of the things you're most proud of.
Okay.
As you've been commander here twice now,
Well,
or been a commander twice,
Right,
correct?
correct.
Right. Not here necessarily, but you've been a commander at 2 different places. Let's talk a little bit about your journey and what you've learned and why you did that twice.
So, like Matt, Indiana, I am a legacy as well. My father served nearly 30 years in the Navy. His father was in the Army as a soldier, enlisted for about 22, 23 years, and I felt the calling as well. It's not uncommon for young people to follow their grandparents, their father, mother's footsteps into the military. And I've been doing this for about 10 years. At least I've been commissioned for 10 years in the Army, initially as an artillery officer,
Okay.
and then now as a signal officer over the past 6 years. And I'll tell you, I was most proud 6 years ago of being an artillery officer.
Okay.
I was proud of what I did. I love my MOS.
Right.
I love the science of artillery. I
Okay.
loved that it was a proprietary science, that the branch had pageantry and history behind it. So at the end of those 4 years, I had all but decided to get out because I didn't want to switch over to signal. But
Okay.
I'll tell you, Keith, the last 6 years have been the best 6 years.
Okay.
Right? Because I realized that in the Army, you find great people everywhere. And that's why I wanted to command twice, right? So I
Okay.
commanded a signal company out in 22 SBCT in Fort Lewis. So that's like a brigade signal company. You support the brigade with communications equipment and support. And then I came out to USEREC to command again because I loved that experience. I loved leading soldiers. And I recognized that in recruiting, there are awesome people. There are intelligent and capable people. And what makes it even better is you realize that there's a reason you were so proud to lead those soldiers, those young men and women, because they really are the community's best and brightest. You don't understand that until you recognize just how difficult the process of enlistment is for some of these young people. It's tougher than coming into college. So I would tell you that my proudest moments, at least in this uniform over the past several years, in both commands, have been watching young people grow into leaders, not just in the Army, but in their communities.
So that maturation process, very often, the service gives them purpose.
Absolutely. Purpose, community, direction in most cases. And it certainly did that for me. I like to say to young people, like, putting this uniform on doesn't change you. That takes a little while. But in the eyes of your community, the people here in Homa especially, it is everything, right? And I say, don't look at my rank. And don't look at my name because you probably can't pronounce that, right? I say, look at the U.S. Army over my left breast pocket because you're 6 months away from coming back to Homa in this uniform, right? And as far as everyone in the community is concerned, you are exactly the same as me. 10 years, 6 months.
Yeah. Because quite frankly, you guys are the heroes, no matter what you've done, but by the decision to go and serve. That's what heroism is. And that's what we appreciate as a community member.
Oh, of course. And I can tell you that, we love the city of Homa. Here, especially, we get the warmest of receptions. This is a special place. And it's, by no surprise, really our best market in the company. I'm willing to say that on camera. But I feel that I appreciate the reception here that we get. But I got to tell you, I just am so unbelievably fortunate to have been able to do this.
Well, and there's a reason why the the crew here, because all of them come on pretty often. I get a chance to see them and work with them and go and meet with them and talk with them. And I make a special trip for Veterans Day every year and just go provide pins to that group just because it's a big deal to our community. But they really embrace HOMA, much like HOMA embraces what you guys do. It's truly a two-way street with the community. And I guess maybe that's the thing about commanding that will make a difference and that maybe y'all are both, have looked forward to.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely.
And so the next step for you?
Well, I have been selected for major by the grace of God, and I will head to Fort Leavenworth, Kansas. So that means I'll get a second master's degree at the University of Kansas, and I'll participate in the Command and General Staff College at Fort Leavenworth. That's about 11 months long. And
wow.
And amid that class, I'll have some assignments fielded to me. And I'll interview for either a Brigade S6, like a Brigade Communications Officer, or a Brigade Executive Officer position.
Wow. Well, congratulations. We had a couple minutes left. Matt, tell us a little bit, if you don't mind, about maybe the enjoyment that you've had in your journey and maybe the best of what you've seen over your course of your service.
Of course. It's so interesting to me because I can't honestly say, even though I have family up there, I can't honestly say that I would have gone to Alaska without the Army sending me there.
Right.
Just like, as much as I've always wanted to come visit New Orleans, I can't say I would have lived in New Orleans without the Army sending me there. So those were both exciting adventures that I keep going on. And I always think of it like, oh, I'm going to move to another place. What adventure awaits me there? And just the opportunity to jump out of a plane, too. Some people say perfectly good airplane, but I always say it feels weird to land in a plane whenever I fly because I'm so used to jumping out of it.
Okay, so here's the thing. As you continue your service, just know whether they've given you a parachute or not. It gives you the whether you should jump or not.
Absolutely.
And so, Captain, I ask you the same thing. Just your favorite moment, if you will, that you can remember serving.
So far my favorite moment is being with the soldiers back at Fort Bliss, just being able to go to the field with them, experience going down to the motor pool. May have not turned a wrench, but I've always been there, and just learning new experiences. I've been able to go to Kuwait, travel a little bit, say, hey, I've been to Kuwait.
Wow.
And then being able to move to New Orleans, that's an opportunity I probably would have not taken if I was not in the Army.
Yeah. And we got about 15 seconds left. I'm sorry, but we gave you more time to talk. Your
Well,
favorite moment.
So honestly, all of it. And then just recognizing that at year 10, I'm happier than I was at year 2, which is a testament to the value of service and really the quality of this job.
Well, and it's great when you can join and then continue to enjoy what is next.
Absolutely.
And so we congratulate you outgoing, congratulate you incoming, congratulations, Commander, and we appreciate what you've done and what you're going to do. So we appreciate you, and I know that your service does not go unnoticed. So thank you.
Thank you, Keith.
Thank you.
Very good. All right, guys, that's going to do it for us. Don't go anywhere. A whole lot more Bayou time when we continue.